Hello, travelers. Welcome to the Copper Fox Inn, where we discuss homebrew for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Come on in, take a seat, and join us as we sift through these ancient tomes and scrolls and find the most interesting, the silliest, the most unique homebrew from all around the internet and talk about them together. My name is Thomas the Human Bard, and I'm joined today by...
Mercy the Tiefling Wizard.
Onog the Half-Orc Barbarian.
And Bean the Bean. Guys, I don't know how to tell you this,
What happened
but
to Bean?
a wizard trapped me inside a bean.
You're in a bean now.
Couldn't tell the
that's
difference, I guess.
No,
I guess you have less limbs now.
No, I'm like, just see the bean on the table?
Yeah, no, like I
Yeah.
said, I couldn't tell the difference.
That's me.
Yeah.
I mean, the size
normally a
comparison
gnome.
is like, it's about the same.
No,
It's from my perspective, it's
It's a
fine.
pretty
Okay.
large bean, to be fair.
I mean, it is, to be fair, it's a lima bean, but still, I'm normally like 3 feet tall, guys. This is a lima bean.
I did draw a face on it and stick a wig on it, so maybe that's what confused
that's-
Can you
That's
see
what that
out of the
is.
bean? We've done a lot to the bean.
It's weird, I see you guys from above.
Oh, no. Then how do you know you're inside the bean?
Well, because whenever someone picks me up and move me, it like follows the bean.
Follows the bean.
And all I can taste is
Yeah.
lima.
We did notice when this happened, and we didn't think you'd noticed, and we weren't gonna say anything. We actually don't mind. This is
We didn't
fine.
want to make you feel self-conscious about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm aware I am a bean, guys.
Okay, just checking.
You saw me become a bean and you were just like, this is fine.
Yeah, we accept you however
Weirder
you are.
things have happened in this tavern.
I didn't go up to the wizard and be like, yo, I really want to be a bean. He was just like,
What's-
oh, bean, hey? And then like snapped his fingers and here I am.
Wizards
That
do
is
be
how
like
wizards
that.
Yeah, that is the way. That's true. That's an accurate
Their
characterization of all
immediate reaction.
wizards.
Yeah,
This is why you should always
100%.
be wary of puns around a wizard.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Absolutely.
Well, it's just, I wish that there were other plant-like people like me so I didn't feel so alone.
Hey, your wish is my command. The wizard, he's back.
No!
no!
Oh,
No.
He's.
I
Oh,
was-
what is this? He's created some sort of life form. Onog, what is this thing I'm looking at here?
Technically speaking, funguses aren't plants. All right, moving onward.
Hey, this was a great segue, okay? we
put
gave you
so
a great
much effort
segue.
into
You
that.
blew
You
it.
threw it on the ground.
You gave you
you're
a
not a-
gift.
You're not a fun guy, are you, Onog?
See, less good. That's good.
Yeah.
They're entirely within their own kingdom, separate from
I
plants.
said plant-like. Anyway, what are they, boys?
All right, so in Onog's eternal quest to brew the unbrewable, I stumbled upon the Myconid race, which is a race based off of a creature in the monster manual that lives in the Underdark, and they are fungus people, basically.
Where did we find this from, Onog?
So I got this from the Reddit Unearthed Arcana, and it had, hold on, the page disappeared, and it was, okay. So I got this from the Unearthed Arcana Reddit, and it was posted by user Link3000. That's Link with a C. I'm going to assume this is how that is pronounced.
Link with a C, so C-I-N-K.
And it's the post itself is titled Revamp from last week, so it does look like this has actually gone through a couple of
revisions.
different iterations and things
Okay.
like that.
I have a quick question. Are there
Yes.
2 types of it, and is the bigger type called the Chungus fungus?
No,
There's
but
the
it needs
Chungus
to be.
fungus. The
There are no sub-races.
I know that this is Myconid, but what happened to Yerkinid?
I was gonna make that joke!
Guys,
I
told
knew you
I
were.
told you you can't make puns around the wizards. He will
Oh,
take
no!
them seriously.
You'll make another one. Okay.
Oh no, the wizard just made a Knish and he gave it to you,
Your
so I guess it's
Knish.
like
My
your
Knish.
Yeah. Your Kadesh, it's like an Egyptian short sword.
How far can we stretch this before Onog just leaves?
Pretty far.
How far can you stretch a mushroom? That's the question I want answered today.
Oh no, that
We're
made
not
me
gonna
so
do it. We're not
sad.
gonna test it. Don't
Oh,
worry,
sorry,
guys.
sorry,
Don't
yeah,
worry.
no.
Don't worry. It was
Sorry.
Yeah,
hypothetical.
don't mess with our newly generated by wizard fungus friends. All right, so like I said, so yeah, there's only the one subclass. It is interesting to note that to a very real degree, the Myconids have like a hive mind mentality about things. Like as they are separated from each other, like they obviously have individual sensor receptors and things like that. but with the way they communicate, which we will actually get to in their stat block, they actually share data almost explicitly with each other.
That checks with like actual mushrooms, because some of the biggest organisms in the world are mushrooms like the size of Canada.
Like a mushroom chain.
Yeah, because usually when you find one mushroom and in the
Like the
field
movie
here, there's
Avatar.
another.
Pretty much, actually.
No, but like they're all in a network underground. Like usually, if you
Yes,
see
exactly like the
individual
movie
mushrooms, they're all-
Avatar.
No,
Have you seen the
you're
movie
thinking of the
Avatar?
episode Avatar where they go to the swamp for some
No.
inexplicable
Avatar
reason,
the
if I
Blue
remember
People.
correctly.
I'm talking
Avatar
about the
the Blue
movie
People.
Avatar by James Cameron.
No,
There's a
but I
planet,
choose
they're
to
all
think about
connected
the other
underground.
instance of this exact thing.
Okay. In another property called Avatar. Fair enough.
That is much more critically
Oh, right, the swamp
appraised.
puppet thing. Yeah,
Yeah, they're all
I
connected
do.
in
I
the
do
swamp.
also
I,
remember
th-
that.
I thought that was
also
the joke
true.
you were explicitly making,
Oh,
just
boy.
like in
I was
Avatar,
just
and then
dir-
pivoting away from the good thing.
No, I was
Guys,
just
I don't want to
directing-
talk about Avatar the Blue People. I want to talk about real things like this mushroom man in front of
Yes,
us right
of
now.
course. Sorry. Also,
All right.
Myconids do have a sort of interesting notoriety in D&D, being like the drug trip monster.
Yeah, these
Oh,
are
like-
the dankest boys.
Yeah, you go chill with the Myconids and you get super high out of your mind.
Yeah, can you fill me in here? So, what is the history
There's-
of Myconids with D&D already?
They're a monster in the
existing?
monster manual. They're from the Underdark.
Okay.
They're pretty much one of the 2 or 3 friendly creatures that are or potentially friendly, more accurately, that live in the Underdark.
I don't think I've
Myconids-
ever encountered them.
Myconids and Flumphs.
If anyone, I doubt anyone here has, but I was on a D&D show called Enter the Hex, and they met in sort of a Underdark-like, I mean, it wasn't the actual Underdark, but they met a mushroom man named Bordeaux, and he sounded like a beetle, and he was just very nice. That's, like, that is a pretty good example of just like, oh, I met a Myconid, and he was really chill, and he just was sort of a mushroom man.
They're just kind of hanging. They're just
Honestly,
doing their
yeah.
own
I
thing.
see the parallel they're going for. I get it.
Yeah, sure.
You know, because of all the LSD. All right,
Because
so
of the drugs,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
because
yeah,
of the
gotcha,
drugs,
gotcha.
yes.
okay, so we get ability traits that are applied when you choose the Myconid race. Your wisdom score is increased by 2, and your constitution by 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these are relatively wise and chunky boys. Myconid's age, they live to be approximately 24 years old.
Oh, pretty quick.
Let's see.
Quick turnover.
Alignment, I mean, they're mushrooms.
They're mushrooms, I guess, yeah.
Myconid circles, which is like what they call like their groups,
Their
kind of a thing.
cultures, yeah.
Rarely face conflict and can be naive to questions of moral ambiguity.
I'm sorry, was cultures a pun because of like
I mean,
No puns in front of the wizard.
I mean, you know, it wasn't originally intended as one, but I didn't bail off of it when I realized it was one. So
My brain was just working so fast where I was like, the yogurt has its own musical tradition now, like cultures and cultures, but like it didn't work. It
how
wasn't
did this
worth
become
it.
the episode of just bad, like really drawn out wordplay?
None of which
I know.
land.
The episode? I'm sorry, the singular episode? And where
We've
this is
never
the
done
only
this
time this
before.
happens?
You
also,
got me. You got
we're talking
me.
about cultures and that's bacteria. I'm really hoping that like my kefir is not just full of like mushroom caps.
Oh boy.
Sure.
All right,
There
so
are
yeah, but
cultures
basically
that-
it's one of those things where they as a society are lawful neutral, but it does give the credence that like if a Myconid moves away from its circle, they might gain different experiences and a different outlook on life.
How long
so
can
yeah,
they be
they are-
separated from the hive mind before they don't fit in anymore now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. Like we do see a similar aspect with that amongst amongst Illithid, the mind flayers, where it's like they do all sort of share a hive mind, but then if like one of them is too far away, they might start getting ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are size medium. However, their speed is only 25 feet.
Oh.
So they
I-
got
they
little
feel-
stubby fungus legs.
They feel slow to me when I look at them. They seem like they
Yeah.
wouldn't be very like fast creatures. So that's
I would imagine they would like tear if they
Now,
moved too
anyone who
fast.
has played Dark Souls would be able to affirm the opposite.
Yeah, well, okay, very different. Yeah.
There is a real, and actually he looks just like this, the one fungus on the first picture. There is a real quick mushroom in there.
I don't think Dark Souls was ever intended to be thought outside of Dark Souls, though.
Oh no, it haunts me to this very day. All right, so they do, however, because they are from the Underdark, get superior dark vision. So they have a dark vision range of 120 feet,
Dang.
just like Drow.
How long do you think it's going to be until Wizards of the Coast just starts making every race have superior dark vision, and then
Oh, we're
humans
getting
get
there, don't worry
regular
about it.
dark vision?
Because it used to be that everything had low light vision, and now everything just has dark
That's what I'm
vision.
saying,
Now
it's gonna-
everything will soon have superior dark vision, and then everything will just have true sight. at
But
a
we
certain
all
point.
know
true
that
sight.
cats do not have dark
Do not
Except for
have
cats.
dark.
Cats are actually blind. All of them. Every cat sees
They-
through echolocation, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Meowco location.
Oh no.
Echo meowcation.
None of those worked.
Thank you, Mercy.
Cat
Thank you.
location.
All right.
Echolocation. There
Oh, there, that's the one.
Ooh.
Echolocate.
Whoever makes another cat pun, we're gonna whisker away.
It's you, the bean. You're gone now. Goodbye. Flicks the bean off the table.
I'm just gonna paint on the smiley face we painted onto this giant lima bean. I'm going to just draw whiskers.
It's
now.
a regular sized lima bean.
Draw
Yes,
little
it's
X's
regular
over
sized
its
bean
eyes.
for a giant. Okay, so languages you cannot speak,
Yeah.
but instead make hissing and whistling sounds from specialized growths, allowing you to fulfill the verbal requirement for spells.
Ah,
Yeah, so they can...
I
Okay, well, they can just basically, like play little flutes, but they can't make language.
Yeah, they can't make language, and that's actually something we'll get to in one of their last abilities, actually.
So essentially, you can't really communicate verbally, but you can
No.
make enough sounds to cast a spell that requires.
It's basically
Yeah.
so that you don't just directly nerf this race as if they wanted to be a wizard, and it's like, well, you can't actually speak, so you can't make any
Right.
verbal
But
component.
what if it's
Right.
like, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna add to this podcast. I kind of have a weird phobia of mushrooms, so this one's a little hard for me. But it has these little growths, and when you cast a verbal spell, it just goes, and like little
That's basically what it
little
is.
spores come out, and that's like the verbal component.
No one else is doing this to you, Bean. You're doing it to
You
yourself.
chose
I want-
to do that.
I
We,
know,
we
but
could
it's
be
cool.
moving on.
All right, so they don't talk, but they make noise. Question mark.
Yeah.
Plant. So your creature type is plant rather than humanoid.
What? Not
Now
in
this
addition?
is
Oh.
this not an addition. So this is probably
That's
the
funky.
first stick in which I just kind of want to make a change to that, because that makes a lot of different implications about the
Yeah.
kinds of spells that can affect your character.
Yeah.
It's why they never do it, right?
That's why they never do it. Or in the
don't
instances
realize
where they are
the
making a
ripple
player
effects.
race off of something that is not a humanoid, like centaurs, for instance, that they make the stipulation that you are both a humanoid and a monstrous being,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
That essentially, in order to have this be a playable thing,
It has to be
a
humanoid, or at
Yeah,
least
definitely.
classified thereof.
Mm-hmm.
So,
'cause
like
there's
for
just
instance, this
so many
this
weird
guy
corner
is
pieces.
immune to hold person,
Yeah.
even though he's a person. You know.
And he couldn't be under hold monster. He'd have to be under hold fungus. Because as we know, also I said fungus.
Fungus.
Oh, funk. Funk. Remember that. That'll be important later on. Earlier we said
Oh
rave,
no, I'm
and now
gonna
we've
make
said
a
funk.
Myconid.
These are all different
I'm gonna make a
episodes.
Myconid character, and his name is Fungus.
I've
Fungus
forgotten.
the Myconid.
I've forgotten these are all different episodes.
You're
We've had
just
a
building up for weeks.
We've had a through line. You said rave last episode. You said funk this episode. I'm trying to build up to what I'm bringing
All
later
right,
on.
Later
let
on,
the
in a
fans work up their theories for weeks.
Charlie from Always Sunny meme. It's all connecting.
It's all connected. Okay, but in this iteration, they are classified as plant and not
Yes.
a humanoid. Once again, not how fungus works, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
We all
Alright.
know it's a separate kingdom.
They
Yep,
are. They
everyone
are
knows
plant
that.
in the Monster
Everyone knows,
Manual,
but does
right?
anyone care?
They are plants in the
Yeah.
monster manual.
For D&D's
but yeah,
purposes,
so-
they're plant.
Yeah. So the next ability they get is Sun Sickness. You have disadvantage on attack rolls and on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight when you or the target of your attack or whatever you are trying to perceive is in direct light. So once again, like the
Drow.
like the drow. However, it goes a step further.
Uh-oh.
You can survive in direct sunlight for short periods, albeit with discomfort. When exposed to direct sunlight, you feel the effects of extreme heat, as illustrated in the Dungeon Master's Guide, regardless of ambient temperature or access to water.
But
Ugh,
don't they
extreme
have like
heat.
built-in
Yikes.
sun hats?
Yeah, but the sun
but
hat
that's
is
their
their
head.
head.
That's
That's
the
the
top of their
problem.
head.
Well, it says at the very bottom that they carry parasols.
Yeah,
No,
like
they are
that is a
parasols.
there is a cute little thing later
Yes, that's very nice.
to like try and
Um,
like circumvent that.
In the DMG extreme heat though, that like starts giving you levels of exhaustion.
Yeah,
Like, that's no
that's
Yeah,
rough.
so if
You'll
you
die.
are exposed to too much sunlight, you will literally just die at a
wither
certain
away.
Okay, the
and
next
stuff.
magic item I'm gonna bring is like magic sunscreen. So for like drow or creatures like this, it's like you put this on and it'll like help out. It's not gonna cure you, but it'll help with the sun.
Okay. So now we get to weirder stipulations about their fungal body. Your fungal nature grants you the following traits. Much like humanoids, you need to breathe oxygen. However, you require far less. You can go without air for up to 1 hour at a time.
Okay. Sure.
Additionally, you do not need to eat in the same way a humanoid would. Instead, you absorb nutrients and moisture through physical contact with decaying plant matter, manure, or prepared food.
Would that make the math for things like drowning and suffocating weird? Trying to figure out how long it...
Probably.
Well,
Like,
that's
that
the
would-
thing is like
that would be
you-
a whole thing.
They literally wouldn't start suffocating until an hour later.
Right, but,
But
then it's
it
like
would
the
be
rate
normal.
of suffocation.
No, it would be normal after that point.
All right.
Yeah, after that point, it's the same.
Okay.
And that's how, because there are other, I believe the lizard folk also have, and turtle, all have stipulations of they can actually hold their breath for like 30 minutes or something.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just wondering how that would work out. Fair enough.
All right, so the next three abilities are all about their spores. So the first ability is is distress. When you take damage, all other Myconids within 240 feet feel your pain.
Oh, okay.
They share
So
the pain.
it's one of those shared minds things.
Does
where
it damage them or just
No, they
hurt
just
a
sense
little
it.
bit?
They can tell
it,
you.
or can sense your pain? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like they know you are being hurt, and they know they can help you out, or
Okay.
that whatever
There's
they
danger
did
in
is
that
succeeding
direction.
if they are evil.
Yeah.
All right, Rapport Spore.
I love that.
Spore rapport.
A 30-foot radius of spores extends from you. These spores can go around corners and affect only creatures with an intelligence of 2 or higher that aren't undead, constructs, or elementals. Affected creatures can communicate telepathically with you while they are within 30 feet of you.
Okay, so
So that is how you can talk.
it's like your hive mind has kind of an aura, so that if other people are near, you can
You can then talk to them,
telepathically-
but you can't like shout or anything. They need to be in 30 feet of you to be able to talk.
That's one of the things that in like the original monsters description has led a lot of people to be like, hey man, if your party stumbles across a huge like multiple miles of Myconid culture, like, and you start hanging out with them, you are now telepathically linked to all of them at once, and you have ascended the mortal plane, and you're like going on a super trip now because you're like,
Yeah.
oh no, I can hear everything. Because they
I
all
would
do
imagine-
that. They have their like communication hive mind through this telepathy, and they can just bring you in without you even asking to be brought in on it. You just
Yeah.
are now telepathic with them.
Yeah, it doesn't say willing. It is you can talk to them. And
Yep.
they talk to you. All right, and the last ability is Pacifying Spores. You know the friend's cantrip and can cast it without requiring material components. Once you reach 3rd level, once per long rest, you can cast the spell Calm Emotions, centered on yourself. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability. So,
Just chill out, man.
They-
Just
they
calm
can make you
down,
chill, bro.
John.
They got that chill.
and then, of course, is the last ability to the sunlight sensitivity. Often they are seen wearing parasols.
Very
Which is a
cute.
nice stipulation to kind of help counteract that super negative ability, but also it is a limitation in that it's basically using one of your limbs. So you can't, like, dual wield, or if you do, you smack them with an umbrella, which isn't as effective.
So
But if you get one of those gross, like chintzy, like umbrella like headband hats that are like really
Well, it would have to be specially made for your enormous mushroom head.
Well, this thing, I feel like
you
they
could
could just
probably
take
just
the
stab
stick
it
off
in.
the parasol and then just like rest the top of the umbrella on the top of their mushroom
Just
head.
like as a hat, like
Yeah.
in Sekiro.
Oh no, they just need like the big. What are they called? The big cone hats, like the like Chinese hats. You know, the big straw.
Yeah.
You know, they just get
yeah.
a
Gotcha.
giant one of those, and you're like, from a distance, you're like, haha, that guy looks like a mushroom, and then like up close, you're like, oh my gosh, wait,
It is a mushroom.
it is a mushroom.
But yeah, and that's my Myconid boys.
So I guess it's not a humanoid, which kind of makes it super powerful, but then everything else about it is like really hard to deal with. And I don't know if that necessarily balances it, but at least it's not like, it's not a humanoid, and it can fly, and it is also a dragon and an angel.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it works all right. I think that it succeeds on a lot of parts that it gets the vibe across. The only problem I do agree with Onog that immediately sticks out is you gotta be a humanoid.
You just
you gotta be a
Like,
humanoid,
as
otherwise
boring
you
as that
just
is.
circumvent so many
Yeah.
things.
Well, as much as it was cool to think like, what if this one wasn't? It creates too many problems that you don't think about when you make that decision.
Once
Yeah.
again, it also brings up the question of like, other than flavor, why would someone choose to play this race? Now,
Sure.
just flavor alone is totally a
I
fine
want
enough
to
reason.
be a mushroom boy, which is fair.
Yeah, I want to be a chill, druggy, stoner mushroom boy. Like, that's fine. But, again, you know, at the end of the day, why are you just not playing another creature and you just say that it looks and acts like a mushroom?
Yeah, sure.
I actually really like this for that flavor, and also it is mechanically like that's one of the reasons why I've been having a trouble is making a homebrew version of the Myconids, is that it's just one of those things where it's like mechanically they are distinct, especially with that spore communication thing. And that's one of those things where it's like that's why I would want to play as a Myconid, is that little like he doesn't talk, he just kind of sits there, but anyone who stands near him gets a full conversation,
Yeah.
you know, kind of.
I mean, it is very different than a lot of other races out there. It totally is. So you do get a different experience,
For sure.
but it is
Yeah.
very interesting.
I think it's one of those things too where it's like we can look at the flavor of something and be like, why would you want to do that? But it's like somebody wanted it enough that they made the whole thing.
Yeah,
like
yeah, totally.
that's someone's jam.
Yeah. I'm not saying it against it, but I guess that's just always the question that I bring up whenever a race or a class is being...
Yeah, it's like, what is the
made.
distinctive thing that you
Yeah.
want to be doing?
Yeah.
And that's always a good way to be designing as well, is if you start mainstreaming your design too much, like you need to keep at the front of your mind, why would somebody want to play a Myconid instead of an elf? And then like hone in on what makes it unique and different and make sure to provide that to the player.
Yeah.
Because then we have scenarios that we've actually covered, I think, on this podcast, where it's the other direction, where it's like, this is actually just too similar to being an elf. Why would I be this race?
Yeah.
I could just be an
Yeah.
elf.
You don't want to be so far that it's like either too powerful or not usable, but you don't want to be so close that you're like, there's not really a reason to choose this. So I think that this achieves a very different thing. So it's nothing against it, but it is still
Yeah.
just like a... it would just be so tough to play, but maybe that's what you're looking for as a player, a challenge.
Especially with the sunlight drawback, this is definitely D&D on hard mode.
For sure. Unless you're just playing an Underdark campaign.
Yeah, I was about to say, I sort of
Then
feel
you
like
rule
this
the
is what
world.
that's designed for.
Yeah.
Because I mean, partially from what we I know it's something that Thomas and I have discussed, this specialist boy complex, where you're like, every member of your party is like, I'm a dragon angel baby, and someone else is like, I'm a Myconid from the Underdark and I don't talk, and everyone wants to be like the most specialist, most unique thing, and then it doesn't really make sense why you're in the setting that you are, which if
I
you
call
have
that the Han
justification,
Solo syndrome.
yeah, everyone's the loner, where it's like, and you can always be the specialist boy if it makes sense in your campaign with your DM, but I feel like something like this, it seems to me like it was designed for an Underdark campaign,
Yeah.
which takes away most of the
Do
drawback.
you want to play an Underdark campaign and offer a unique option to your players? Like,
Perfect.
have them be a party of all Drow and Myconids. Like, that's
Yeah.
a unique
Yeah.
group that
You're
you
not-
don't normally play.
And then you're not doing the specialist boy thing if you're in the Underdark, because
Yeah.
that's where the
Totally.
Myconids are. Like,
But
it makes sense.
But this does also like give a lovely option too, especially with like the parasol like note. It's like you're going into this shop and like there's no ringing of a bell and it smells weird in here and you're just like, where's the shopkeep? And just from the ground you just feel someone go, hey, what's up, dude? Came to buy something? And then you just see this
Hey,
little
what's up,
little
dude?
Myconid
You
dude
buy
who's
some?
just. He's like, I want to have a Myconid shopkeeper now as like the potions master.
Oh,
you
see,
know?
except it's
He's
not a
just
guy.
vibing.
It's just a mushroom that's grown all over the store. Like it's
I
not
mean,
even
it would
a
be
person
it
anymore.
would be a person though. They
No,
are
no,
like they
I'm
have
talking
We
weird-
already
about-
had this discussion. It's a person.
I know, but I'm making an image. I'm making
Right,
another
right.
image. You know.
And
I
you
actually-
like
I
don't know
really-
where it is
Yeah,
because
it's
it's
just
just
all
this
over.
mushroom store.
I really
I
enjoyed the ethereal vibe of the like whistles and hums, like a wind instrument coming from them too. I think there's something really like ethereal about
Like
that in the
the,
Underdark. It's really cool.
Well, kind of like
I
the
mean-
aliens in Arrival, kind of. with
Yeah,
that, like
yeah.
strange,
Yeah, I was thinking the
otherworldly
same thing.
sound. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Just another note to add to kind of what we were saying before. So, as a player and as a DM, you kind of have to think as a player, okay, I can do unique things, but it is a little bit your job to say, but I don't want to do something where I am making the DM feel like he or she or they have to funnel their campaign like into exactly something my character can do.
Well, and I think that just goes into just as a DM, you need to be aware of who your party is, because
Yeah.
that can happen. That can happen if your character is an orc, and you're just like, well, I have this in a setting where everyone's racist against orcs, so no one's gonna like your character.
Yeah.
Like
That's why
that can
stuff
be
like
true of
is-
any race.
Yeah, that's why it's really important when you're starting a new campaign, especially to work with the DM, right? Like they're going to be building the world and you're going to be building the characters. And if the DM says, we're doing a desert campaign, you have some responsibility to not like
That's what I'm saying.
fly in the face of that on purpose. But also, you can work together to find solutions to more corner cases. But yeah, I
Yeah.
overall, I really like this Myconid. I think that it succeeds more than it fails, and that's
Absolutely.
really impressive because it's a hard...
yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a hard translation to make, so
Yeah,
thanks
this
for
was a
bringing this
very
up.
good handling of some complicated concepts.
yeah.
It's pretty slick overall. I really enjoy it. Thanks so much for listening, travelers. If you enjoy this Myconid, let us know down below. Comment with what you think that it succeeds or fails at, and remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel for future D&D homebrew content. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Copper Fox Inn, checking off all of my box of things I have to say at the end of the video. And until next time, keep on adventuring. John,
All right.
I'm selling drugs, John.
I think I'm in a yellow submarine,
John, down here we're all in the yellow submarine, John.
John.
Yeah,
there's
like-
an Eggman in here, John.